First of all, thank you very much, Patricia and Nigel. This is not the first time that we are addressing these facts. Thank you for that. It's always good during this term in the European Parliament to remember everybody about the facts that we are talking about. Also, I would like to thank my colleagues from Trends that are here. Sarah and Abdulaziz are there. And also, most especially from all the guests and speakers, Imam Muhammad Tawidi, who is with us today. Also, thank you very much, because your presence is always for us reconforting. And Sabrina, thank you very much. You have the courage to support this exchange. As we are, you and I, we are confronted with extremes every day more in this parliament and so on. Also, your voice, your contribution, and this co-sponsorship, is, a very good thing. Thank you for that. I do believe school of history repeats itself, unfortunately. And in humans, we have a tendency to always step in the same stone. Every time that there is a change of era, every time that there is, a change like from the Industrial Revolution, now the new technologies revolution, we have these social changes. And fear appears. Our societies, they don't know. But is this change, if it's going to be good or bad? I know that I am not against new technologies. I know it's another human invention done to better our life. But as humans, unfortunately, we also tend to use the negative parts. And then fear appears. And fear, unfortunately, is an incredible political tool used always in history by the same. Prophets of the apocalypse, sellers of miraculous elixirs that appear every time humankind has had a change, social change, these kind of people appear. Today we call them populists, 100 years ago was nationalists, fascists, communists, you name it. We are facing the same polarization. This is not new. We should not be responsible people that are sitting around this table. That's, I think, why you're here. Very difficult times ahead. I cannot hide from you. Sabrina and I, we live this in every plenary in Strasbourg. We have to face extremes trying to get the show. We had that 2 weeks ago with the Casa resolution. Unfortunately for them, fortunately for all of us, the resolution was painstakingly for them because there was not headlines and show. It was a balanced resolution. And that's why today, unfortunately, these positive news, are not welcomed by these polarizing people. And this affects especially our young people. They are vulnerable. They are exposed to these prophets, to these sellers of dreams, of solutions tomorrow morning that we all know it is not possible. But people are desperate. I cannot go against people that vote for extremes because they are desperate. They are looking for quick solutions to questions that are now mounting up every time more quicker than maybe politicians we can react. And these people choose, this kind of, they are attracted. They have been a long history. It's not the first time. But now, with all the information we have a way to address this. And then we come, especially, what we have to work with is with the young people. And our first line of defense, Sabrina mentioned, and I absolutely agree, is education. That's our first line of defense, first and last, because it's the next generation. us, you know, I always, I remember, you know, I was laughing at my father when he had problems to use the remote control of the TV years ago. Now my daughters, you know, laugh about me and I don't have a clue on how to use, you know, the new technologies. It's the next generation. We cannot do anything about the actual situation, I have to say, unfortunately. We can navigate this drama, but what we have to do is, contrary to what's happening, that everybody's thinking about today, about only today, about me and today, what we think is think about them and the future. Education, then, it's the key thing that I'm sure the experts will talk about. We need to promote. I know that they are not trending topic. They're not very attractive for the media. They do not produce clicks. But nevertheless, we have to promote healthy dialogues between cultures, support integration, and create spaces where differences are respected rather than feared. I am living this every day in my country, in Spain, where history showed us that confrontations in my country are usually solved by civil wars. Our humble aspirations to some cool head politicians is that this is not repeated again. But believe me, it's done against politicians, media, not all, but a great part, you know. And also in Europe, why not? When I see these headlines, war in Europe. Excuse me. We don't have a war in Europe. There is a war in Ukraine. It's affecting us Europeans. Yes, this is also, we are defending our values, but the war is not in Europe. I could think that sometimes it's like they would like a war because they will have more headlines and more clicks and more money. So, our responsibility of the people that we are here today, also European politicians, it's also to create a political strategy to combat extreme organizations that are damaging our societies. I have been, and some of us, we have been advocating, you know, against organizations like the Iranian Revolution Guard, Hezbollah, Samidun, also other terrorist organizations. But now we have also the Russians and others trying to interfere and attacking our values. So radicalization, it is used as a weapon by some and also by others trying to interfere in our democracies and to change the opinion, the approach from young people. Because they're not stupid. They are addressing the young people. That's why much of the votes from young people go to the extremes. Because it's already produced by these countries and regimes that they want to change our system. And democracies, we are vulnerable. History always teaches, especially Second World War, that at the end, democratic world, you know, can win this. So we have some hope. We have some hope that we can win this. I'm telling especially people that are now afraid of what we are facing. The most question that I was demanded during the European campaign last year in my country, you know what was? Excuse me, Mr. Istúriz, excuse me, Member of Parliament. Is there going to be a third World War? That was the question I was confronted. That was not in how to put it, in a survey. No. This was people asking. I think that today in this event, and especially to young people, we have to bring them some hope. Do not deny the facts. We have a very, very tough agenda ahead. But also, and I want to end with this positive note, also history teaches us that as democracies, we have won before, we can do it again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Antonio. Thank you, Sabrina. I think you planted the decor of this meeting very precisely, because all of us, we have seen a huge growth in polarization and radicalization of our societies. That's why we wanted to understand the causes, but moreover, how we can fight this by sharing maybe best practices.